Some of you may have noticed that over the past few months, Wargaming has been turning premiums into collectors. If we make our way into Tier 10 alone, there are no more premiums in Tier 10. Or, they're not premiums, but should I say enriched tanks. As we can see, you check on the premium tab and there's nothing there. But if you check on collectors, you have every single one. The M60 was listed as an enriched vehicle. The Chieftain Mark 6 and 121B were also listed as enriched tanks. Why were they changed? And there's a bunch of other vehicles we'll be talking about in just a moment that are getting changed as well. Well, I personally believe the reason they're getting changed is not because necessarily they can be nerfed. That might be a side effect. We've already seen that vehicles like the AMX M454, I wouldn't say got nerfed, but have definitely been changed from their previous playstyle. Same for the Badger. This vehicle definitely got nerfed. The 5A got changed. A lot of vehicles got changed, some for the better. Most of the premiums and collectors that were in Tier 10 are still really good, though, for the most part. I don't think any of them really got flat worse, apart from maybe the Badger. But the Badger also got buffed from where it originally was, so it's still better than the OG state it had. So I can't really get all too mad. I would say the major reason why Wargaming is making premiums turn into collectors is because you can sell them for gold. Now you might say, wait, why would they want you to be able to sell tanks for gold instead of credits? Well, it's pretty simple. What can you do with gold? You can gamble with it. Let's say I want to buy a draw. Well, I can go over here to this resource draw, and if I were to spend the max amount of gold I can here, it's probably upwards of 2,000 to 3,000. If I make my way into the store right now and I see this Thunderbolt bundle that I really want to get my hands on, well, that's 8,500 gold. I can easily go over to my 268 version 4 and sell it for 7,500, and boom, I'll have enough gold to pick it up if I have 1,000 sitting in my account. And I think that's where Wargaming wants you to sell collectors. I think Wargaming is banking on the fact that there are people that either have gambling problems and will buy crates, or are indecisive and will sell Tier 10s they have to buy vehicles in the store, then forcing you to spend money to get that gold back to buy those Tier 10s. That's what I think Wargaming's doing. And I think that they've already done a very good job at it. I've read a lot of comments about people selling their Tier 10s to buy crates, and I have heard a lot of my friends who have sold Tier 10s to buy crates or buy vehicles. I mean, Flossio, one of my close friends, has sold a couple of his Tier 10s for gold. That is why Wargaming's doing it, because they know that people will sell their Tier 10s. So if you want my advice, don't sell your tanks. I have occasionally, on my free-to-play, sold 1 or 2 Tier 10s to get a vehicle, but it's a free-to-play, so I know for a fact I will earn the gold back to get those vehicles, which I have. But if you aren't on a free-to-play, you're basically just giving Wargaming money. Instead of selling a Tier 10, in my opinion, it's much more efficient just to go to the gold store and buy gold cheaper, because it literally is cheaper. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. That is the major reason, I can tell you 100% though, why Wargaming is swapping premiums to collectors. It's not to nerf vehicles. And if you want proof on that, we can make our way down to Tier 7. And you'll see a very special heavy. This, the Smasher. The Smasher has been a collector for quite a while now. And guess what? It has not been nerfed whatsoever. Why? Because it is one of the most played tanks in Tier 7. And even though it's incredibly overpowered, Wargaming knows that if they nerf the vehicle, there is going to be a massive mauled and cry from the community. I personally could care less if they nerf it and the Annihilator, but we know for a fact that if Wargaming nerfs the Annihilator and the Smasher, the majority of lower win rate people who abuse this tank are going to cry about it. And Wargaming doesn't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with the mass majority of their player base crying and leaving the game. So they're going to keep this tank as overpowered as it is. So that's why I personally believe that we're really not going to see many overpowered collectors getting nerfed, because Wargaming wants to keep their player base happy. The skill-based matchmaking that they added into the game only benefits people that are below 50% win rate. Everybody else, well, you get punished, basically. And the ranking system that we've had in the game for a while, again, doesn't do anything. I mean, you can go over to the ranks. Ranks do literally nothing. Wargaming has made it so you can't even look at your tank's stats until you look at the rank system first. If I want to raise my Smasher, I have to not only spend credits, but that's it. It's not like Marks of Excellence where ranking your vehicle actually gives you something. All it does is it says, I've played this tank a lot, which again means that lower win rate players are able to rank their tanks incredibly high without really having to showcase all too much skill. My opinion is that I already told you why Wargaming is making collectors what were premiums. And it's simple. Wargaming wants more money, and they're not going to nerf the tanks that are overpowered because they want to keep the majority of their player base happy. They don't want to deal with their players quitting over a nerf to a smasher. So that's my personal viewpoint. You can agree, you can disagree. Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I could care less. If people are buying premium tanks under the assumption that they're not going to get nerfed, you're already incorrect in that ideology. Wargaming owns everything. I mean, in the EULA, it literally says you don't even own your account. So Wargaming has the right to do whatever they want to any vehicle. And whether or not I agree with that decision doesn't mean you can really, you know, argue with that. Wargaming can nerf any tank they want. And if there's a vehicle too overpowered, they could nerf it. They just choose not to because they know the community is going to get mad and mauled about it. But I personally believe that premium should be nerfed just like tech tree tanks. I think if there's a premium that's overpowered and has things about it that are completely unfair, they should be nerfed. So I'm completely fine with that. And I think that most people should be. If you think that spending money in the game should give you an advantage over players that don't spend money in the game, you're wrong, and that's not how games should work. But, oh well. We're going to take a look at the vehicles that Wargaming has brought into the game. I just need to go over here, and we can take a look. So we can see the vehicles that they are swapping from premium to collector. We have the AMX CDA 105, the AMX Defender, Caliban, Chieftain T95, Chimera, IS Touche, Lanson C, M4190, the Rheinmetall Scorpion, SU-130 PM, T-34-3, Type 59, T-25 Pilot 1, and the T-54E2 Shark. There's a lot of very good vehicles in there. The Shark, we have the SU-130, Scorpion, the Chimera, Caliban. All those vehicles are really, really fun to mess with. I kind of hope Wargaming buffs the Caliban, to be honest. Maybe they make the gun a little bit more accurate. I don't know. I mean, the Caliban's in a pretty fun state right now. Maybe just give it a bit more armor on the upper plate. It's just a little bit susslered. I think it's the worst performing tier 8 in the game, but we'll see. We also have tier 7, the AT-15A, Lycan, Pharaoh, Takenstein, T-34-85 Rudy, and the T-44-85. And in tier 7, we have the Dicker Max, Paulak, Poodle, and Tiger 131. So I think it's about 25 tanks, if I'm not mistaken, that are being changed. But again, I don't really find too much of an issue with it. We can see a lot of tier 9s have also gotten changed. The Kampfpanzer 70 used to be an enriched vehicle. If you actually watch the original video Wargaming posted on this vehicle when it was in the event for free, this tank was called an enriched tank. What that meant is that it earned more credits, but fun fact, the tier 10s and tier 9s that had the premium color status were able to be nerfed because they weren't considered premiums. So that's a fun fact that a lot of people don't know. But I mean, the Kampfpanzer just keeps getting buffed, so I don't really know what to say about that. But yeah, I mean, let me know if you agree or disagree with what Wargaming is doing here. I don't really have much of a voice personally. I'm ambivalent. If you want to sell your tanks and gamble, that's your choice. I'm not going to stop you, but you can't get mad at Wargaming for letting you have that opportunity. It's really your choice at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't think that this is going to change the game at all. I think right now the biggest issue with the game is the matchmaker, so until Wargaming changes that, I don't really care too much about the other things. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.